The fluorescent lights of the production office buzzed overhead as Sarah Mitchell stared at her reflection in the dark computer screen. 15 years. 15 years of clawing her way to the top of daytime television, and now it was all slipping away. She ran her manicured fingers through her perfectly styled blonde hair, a nervous habit she'd never managed to break. Sarah, her assistant Marcus, knocked softly on the doorframe. The ratings just came in for yesterday's show. She didn't turn around. How bad? We dropped another 8%. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the familiar knot in her stomach tighten. Leave them on my desk. Marcus hesitated. There's something else. TMZ is running a story about a possible cancellation. Now she turned, her blue eyes sharp as steel. Get me Jerry, now. It's 6 a.m., he's not. I don't care if he's sleeping or skydiving in the Bahamas. Get me my executive producer now. As Marcus scurried away, Sarah pulled up the previous day's footage. There she was, in her signature red power suit, interviewing some reality television star about their latest scandal. The same manufactured drama, the same fake gasps, the same routine that had made the Mitchell Hour must-watch television for over a decade. But audiences were changing. They wanted something different, something raw. Her phone buzzed. Do you know what time it is? Jerry's gravelly voice croaked. Do you know our ratings dropped another 8 points? Sarah snapped back. We're dying here, Jerry. We need something big, something that'll get everyone talking. She heard rustling on the other end, then the click of a lighter, Jerry's signature stress response, lighting up his first cigarette of the day. I might have something, but you're not going to like it. Try me. Keanu Reeves is doing press for his new film next month. Sarah scoffed. Keanu? The internet's favorite nice guy? That's your big idea. His team reached out to us. They want to do a soft, friendly interview about the movie. Standard promotional stuff. Sarah was about to dismiss it when something clicked, a memory from years ago. A folder of photos that had crossed her desk. Photos she'd been told were too controversial to air. Photos from a funeral. Get me everything you can on Keanu Reeves, she said, her mind already racing. Every tabloid story, every paparazzi photo, every rumor that never made it to print. And Jerry? I mean everything. Jerry's voice held a warning. Don't do what I think you're planning. Just get me the material. She hung up before he could protest. 3 hours later, her office looked like a detective's murder board. Photos, articles, and sticky notes covered every surface. Marcus stood nervously by the door as Sarah paced, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor. This could work, she muttered, more to herself than to Marcus. We start soft, get him comfortable, then hit him with the controversial stuff. The angry fan encounters, the bizarre behavior stories. But those were all debunked, Marcus interjected. The fan videos were taken out of context, and the behavior stories were, it doesn't matter what's true. Sarah cut him off. What matters is how it plays on camera. People want to see the real person behind the nice guy facade. They want drama, conflict, tears. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. His team will never agree to this kind of interview. A smile spread across Sarah's face, the kind that had made her famous, the kind that promised viewers they were about to see something explosive. They don't need to know. We'll present it as a standard promotional interview. Once he's in that chair, live on air, he won't have anywhere to run. The next few weeks were a flurry of activity. Sarah's team worked around the clock, compiling footage and creating perfectly edited clips that painted a very specific picture, each one taken out of context, each one designed to provoke a reaction. But it was the funeral photos that Sarah kept coming back, top of 8 moments captured by an unscrupulous photographer at Jennifer Syme's funeral. Photos that had never seen the light of day, deemed too invasive even for the tabloids. Sarah had acquired them years ago, holding on to them for the right moment. This is wrong, her head writer, Lisa, said during a late-night planning session. Using someone's grief for ratings. This is television, Sarah replied coldly. And right now, it's dying television. We need this. The day before the interview, Sarah sat in her dressing room, reviewing her questions one last time. Her hands shook slightly as she turned the pages. Mr. Reeves's team just confirmed. He'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m., a young intern announced. Sarah nodded, studying her reflection in the mirror. The woman looking back at her had changed over the years. The passionate young journalist who'd wanted to tell real stories had been replaced by someone harder. Someone desperate to maintain her grip on fame at any cost. "Did you know I started in local news?" she said suddenly, surprising even herself with the confession. The intern shook her head. "I used to cover community stories, school board meetings, local heroes, real people doing real things." She laughed bitterly. "Now look at me. You're still on top," the intern offered hesitantly. Sarah's expression hardened. But after tomorrow, I will be again." That night, she couldn't sleep. She sat in her home office, watching old clips of her show. The steady progression from thoughtful interviews to ambush journalism played out before her eyes. Each year, the stakes had gotten higher, the tactics more aggressive. She told herself it was what the audience wanted, what they needed. Her phone buzzed with a text from Jerry. "Last chance to reconsider. We can do a normal interview." She typed back, "See you tomorrow." The morning of the interview, the studio was electric with nervous energy. Everyone could sense something was different about this one. Sarah had been more secretive than usual, keeping the full plan to herself. In her dressing room, she made final adjustments to her outfitted designer black dress that projected authority while still appearing approachable, professional, but not threatening. The perfect costume for what she was about to do. "He's here," Marcus announced, poking his head in. "Just arrived at security." Sarah took a deep breath, checking her reflection one final time. "How does he seem? Friendly? Relaxed?" "He brought coffee for the crew." "Of course he did. The perfect nice guy." "Well, not for long." She gathered her notes. Although she'd memorized every question, every planned moment of attack, the folder of funeral photos sat on her desk, ready to be handed to the graphics team at the perfect moment. Sarah. Jerry stood in her doorway, looking more serious than she'd ever seen him. "This isn't just another celebrity takedown. What you're planning, there's no coming back from this." She picked up the folder, brushing past him. "That's exactly what I'm counting on." The studio audience was filing in, the energy building. Sarah could hear the familiar pre-show music, the buzz of conversation. In 15 minutes, they'd be live. In 15 minutes, she'd begin the most important interview of her career. Through the monitor in her dressing room, she watched as Keanu Reeves was led to the green room. He was dressed casually but elegantly in all black, his signature style. He smiled warmly at every crew member he passed, stopping to take photos with starstruck production assistants. 5 minutes to places, the stage manager called out. Sarah stood in the wings, her heart pounding. Years of experience had taught her to channel nervous energy into performance, to use adrenaline to sharpen her focus. But this was different. This wasn't just another interview. This was survival. "You know this could end your career if it backfires," Lisa whispered, making one last attempt to reason with her. Sarah's grip tightened on her notes. "And what do you think will happen to my career if I do nothing? Sometimes you have to burn it all down to build something new." 2 minutes. The audience warm-up comedian was finishing his routine, the crowd primed and ready. Through the curtain, Sarah could see her chair's seat of power she'd occupied for 15 years. Tomorrow, everyone would be talking about what happened in that chair. 1 minute to places. She felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to find Jerry looking grave. "Whatever happens out there," he said quietly, "remember you chose this." Sarah shrugged off his hand, straightening her spine. The opening music began to play. "Live in 5, 4, 3. The stage manager's countdown continued silently with hand signals. Sarah plastered on her famous smile, the one that had launched 1,000 memes, the one that promised viewers they were about to see something they'd never forget. She took her first step onto the stage as the announcer's voice boomed through the studio. "Live from Los Angeles. This is the Mitchell Hour with Sarah Mitchell." The audience erupted in applause, unaware they were about to witness not just an interview, but the culmination of a desperate gambit by a woman determined to save her impereno, matter the cost. Sarah waved to the crowd, her smile never wavering. In just a few minutes, she would invite Keanu Reeves onto her stage. In just a few minutes, everything would change. But first, she had to play her part, the friendly host, the sympathetic listener. She had to make him feel safe before she went for the kill. "Good morning, everyone," she beamed at the camera. "We have an incredible show for you today." The studio lights seemed brighter than usual as Sarah watched Keanu make his way to the guest chair. Her heart raced with anticipation, but years of television experience kept her expression warm and welcoming.